Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's project will require one of these frames with the little clip hook that you can find at the Dollar Tree, some wired jute, I couldn't find it at first, a piece of paper shiplap looking from Hobby Lobby. I'm going to be using this family stencil that I picked up actually at my local flea market for $1, and they're individual stencils. It's a great idea. I'm also going to be using some Q-tips. Bear with me with the Q-tips. And the final item are greenery. Now I cut the greenery up to be very small pieces, individual pieces, so that's why I have them set. All right, so to begin this project, the first thing that we are going to do is we are going to take our Q-tips and we are going to paint the sticks of the Q-tips brown. I don't know if you see where I'm going with this, but let's go ahead and paint. I think I painted about 9 of them and I only used about 7 of them. So all you're going to do is just paint the sticks, covering all the blue, painting even on to the bottom of the cotton on the Q-tip stems as well. As we let the Q-tip stems dry, we're going to go ahead and take our wired jute twine and we're going to cut a piece of it to make a circle that is the circumference of your choice. I wanted to leave room for the sides and of course the bottom where I'm going to put my wording on. So I had already cut out my piece of jute and I made it into a circle. Now, the next thing that I'm going to do is I wasn't sure about keeping the clip on. So I thought, okay, let me see if I can actually remove the clip without completely destroying the backing of this picture frame. That didn't happen. So in the end, I end up just painting the clip a gray color using a chalk mineral Waverly paint. Now I'm going to set this aside and let it dry. Again, I set a lot of things aside, letting them dry. Okay, so the next step I take is I am contemplating, do I want to paint the frame or do I not want to paint the frame? I couldn't make my mind up to save my life. In the end, I end up painting the frame using white folk art chalk paint, and I did have to give it about 2 coats to get a full coverage because the frame is black. I finished my second coat on my picture frame and now I'm just going to set that aside, let it continue to dry. Now the next step that I'm going to take is I'm going to grab my shiplap wood looking stock paper and trace the picture frame onto the paper or not trace it onto, but trace the picture frame and cut out that piece of paper so that I can Mod Podge it onto the front of the backing of the picture frame. It sounds more complicated, or I'm making it sound more complicated than it is. One challenge that I did have was the little hook on the front of the picture frame, the clip. I had to cut the paper to go around that, so there was some additional cutting that I had to do. And then one small piece that I actually had to completely cut off and then Mod Podge on, but you can't even tell that I had to make any cuts. Now that I have the paper backing on the backing of the picture frame, I am ready to apply my stencil. Like I mentioned in the early part of the video, I am going to use the stencil that says family on it. And these are individual little jelly sticky stencils. Again, I bought them at the flea market for $1. I thought it was such a bargain. And I am just going to unpeel it, position it on my picture frame backing, and I am going to use gray mineral chalk paint to design this. Now, towards the end of the video, you'll see that I actually changed my mind. I don't think that you can see the wording properly with the gray chalk paint, so I ended up changing it to black ink chalk paint. As I wait for the stencil to dry, I'm going to take my wired jute twine. I've already made it into a circular shape. Next, I'm going to take my dried Q-tips and I am going to simply cut off a tip of the Q-tip, leaving a little bit of the stick piece to the Q-tip. I'm going to do that for all the Q-tips that I feel I will need in this project. I'm then going to simply arrange the Q-tips and hot glue them on the wired jute twine, and I'm going to then take the greenery pieces that I previously cut individually into small pieces, and I'm going to hot glue those on, filling any gaps where the Q-tips and the jute twine is showing. So let's go ahead and get started with that entire process, and then we will be rounding almost the end of this project. let the paint on the stencil dry. Now I'm going to peel off the stencil slowly. As I mentioned prior in the video, I ended up not keeping the mineral chalk paint color. I ended up going back and re-stenciling the word using my black ink chalk paint, just because I thought you can read the wording much better. Now I'm going to go in and I'm going to grab a little sheet of sandpaper and I'm going to sand the sides, and that's just in lieu of cutting the paper, that the excess paper that I have. Just if you sand it, it just gives you a cleaner cut. There are a few pieces that look like they're still rising, so maybe I just didn't use enough Mod Podge, but it should be okay. Well, once I'm done sanding it down, I am going to grab a little piece of, it's a burlap ribbon. I believe I got it from the Dollar Tree. It's very thin, and I'm just going to cut a small piece to add to the top of my wreath so that I can then hang that from the clip of the backing of the picture frame. And now we assemble the picture frame to complete this project. Thank you so much for watching to the end of this video. If you have subscribed to my channel, thank you so much for subscribing. I truly appreciate it. If you're new here and you like this video and you'd like to see similar videos, please consider subscribing and hitting the notification bell so that you're notified anytime I upload a new video. As I mentioned, I did change the wording on the sign, but I think it turned out adorable either way.